right, everyone. We might get started. You can see, I'll just close this audio settings I've got, and you can see Scott's presentation up there. Take it away, Scott. Thank you.
Morning, everybody. I've done a couple of these before online, much more civilized time for me this time at 6:30 in the morning. So I appreciate that, everybody. Going to do a quick update onto product, onto Talis, tell you what we've done in the last year since we spoke last, and also give you an insight into what we're planning over the next few months and a good idea of what we're planning for the next year. So if you've got questions, don't hesitate to indicate to probably Isabel or Simon that you want to speak, and they'll stop me mid-flow, or we can do things at the end as well if you prefer. Let's have a quick look at the last year, review of the last year. So we released the new bookmarking flow and UX, which I believe everyone's now using. We allow people to switch it on when it suits them best. This is part of an effort that's been on for a couple of years, really, to make adding items to lists easier and clearer. We used to have the table, so when you captured something from bookmarking, it chucked you into a table with boxes to fill in, etc., which always seemed, well, wasn't very accessible and wasn't really a very friendly way for people to use this. So we moved to this this model, which tells you the details of the item, what sort of item it is. So in one example on screen, you have online resource, it's an open access journal, so it gives you those tags up here. And it grabs this information and tells you where the source is. So at the top, it tells you it's got this information for cross-ref. So even though I was on Sage to get this journal, the actual data's coming from cross-ref. The C matches button on the bottom right is where it'll tell you effectively go and see other versions of this. In this case, it'd just be the one that's straight from the page. We got some stats on this. When we launched it, well, over the course of a year, shall I say, 62% go straight into my bookmarks and about 29% are editing those. Over the last couple of months, that's increased to 68% just going straight in, saving that straight to my bookmarks. So not editing it or anything else, just saying, yep, that's fine, adding it to their bookmarks. And that's been increasing. So we've had good feedback on that. Happy to have more feedback on that. But that piece of work is effectively finished, and we'll just be doing normal improvements to bookmarking. So we also launched tagging. Tagging was launched earlier this year. We've had a good take up so far. The thing that most people have asked for is some sort of private tags, because we have private or library tags, so only the library can see those tags, or only list editors can see those tags. And that's something we're looking to do as part of our continuous improvement program this year, because we know a lot of people would like to have there's just tags that you use in a library. Still be able to report on them, still be able to get all those stats, etc., out of them as well, but students wouldn't see those tags. We did a little bit of some stats on it just a couple of months ago now, and the biggest use was open access. Most people were tagging things in some sort of open access way. You can see open access, free open ebooks and other ones. That was the biggest use of tagging. People also tagging things in other ways. So print format only was quite an interesting one that didn't even anticipate. And all those little bits of different people doing authors and other types of things. But generally, it's been quite well received. And one of the biggest users at the moment of this was in the UK, which I was quite surprised about, because most of the use cases came from you guys. But yeah, it's been well received. So we'll move forward to doing some development on that probably later this year for that library tags. We added the improved add resource information. So when you are in lists, you click on add resource. You now get this much more information about a book that you've maybe find in your discovery. So you may remember this screen, you click on add resource, you can search your My Bookmarks or discovery system or Nielsen book data. And in your discovery systems, we've added much more information. So these tags, similar to the bookmarking theme, when you click on the title, all this info, rather than just adding that to a list, all this information appears. So you can see if you really want to add this to the list. And then you've got the add to list, and this will add it to the list. But if you're using the enforced importances, when you click on add to list, you get these importances that have popped up here. So you have to choose one of those before you add it to the list. And that's for those that are using that enforced flow there, the mandatory importance flow. We've got another, this is a first phase of add resource. There will be a later phased improvement of that coming up later in the year that our team are working on at the moment. But this is the first phase, just to give you some better information and that improved interface. We improved the filters as well. So when you're filtering, you can set multiple filters. It's been something that people asked for a long time. So you can click on multiple of these, so you can filter down, maybe books, items in the library only that have a certain tag, or items in the library only that you have a reading intention on. So you can start filtering down with more than just one thing. And we've also added some more reporting. So we've added internal note fields to appear in all reports. And we ordered time periods and added some extra metadata for the advanced mids. So quite a lot of things been going on this year. So a quick look at what we're working on now and what you'll see over the next coming months. Accessibility. So the Cortex UX team did a first look through at Talis accessibility, ensuring we meet or exceed WCAG 2.2, which is a new one. Last year we moved to 2.2 and 2.1 standards. We found out a dozen items to fix. That's nothing major. It's things like highlighting some of the words when you're scrolling over it, a screen reader, making sure that buttons don't read button, that they read whatever it is that's in the button. So we got a number of those, and we're just going through those and fix those as we go through. So we work in 2-week sprints with our development team, get a load of tickets to do, and sometimes things get backed up. You've got finished one thing before another. So what they do then, they've got a number of accessibility tickets, and as they're going through, they'll pick up an accessibility ticket and slot that into their work. And I think we finished one off last sprint. We got, so I think we finished 3 last sprint, and we'll just carry on finishing those. And in a couple of months, we'll give a detail of all the things that we've changed for those that are interested. But there's nothing major. You might see those that use screen readers will start seeing gradual changes, but most people there just using Aspire without any assistive technology will not see any changes at all. But it's important work that we're doing now. The other thing we're working on is add resource improvements. So we're going to improve the search. So if you're using discovery systems, we're going to be adding some filters. So the filters will include filter on material type. So when you're searching your discovery system, one of the main problems people have is you've got millions of items on there. So you type in a couple of words and you still get millions of items returned. So we're going to filter by material type. So journal, article, for example. So you can make sure when you're looking for a book, you're not getting into journal articles. And also filter by date. So if you know it's published in the last 2 years, filtering by book in the last couple of years is really going to narrow down that list of results. We're also going to be allowing searching in multiple sources at once. So Nielsen book data, you'll be able to search as well as a discovery system, which I know has been something that have put some people off switching because they still like Nielsen book data. That's fine. You'll be able to have that as well as your discovery systems and my bookmarks. I'm also going to be adding some new databases. Initially, we're planning an OER collection, and the Cortex books collection as well will be there. All these search databases will be selectable by you to switch on and off. So you don't get everything suddenly switched on, you don't have OER and you don't want it. You just decide in admin interface which databases you want to search. And you'll also be able to call your discovery system whatever you want. So you don't have to call it Primo Discover if you don't want to. You can call it whatever you call it at your university. So that's all coming. Accessibility will come over the next couple of months. The ad resource will be done by the end of September. it may come sooner, but that's being worked on by the team at the moment. Also, over the next few weeks, we'll be releasing the new edit and manual create screens. So at the moment, if you are in an item that you've added through a new bookmark and click on edit, you get a different edit screen than if you are editing an item that's already in the system. And this is just due to the way the system works and the way we store records. So we are in the process of updating that edit screen and also the manual, the create manuals item screen. They should be done in the next 2 weeks, and then we will be doing a full round of testing in-house. And people like Isabel and the rest of our customer services team will be testing that to make sure it all works. And then we'll give you a date when you will present all those screens. But effectively, it's exactly the same as you go into the new bookmark and flow, click on edit. It's exactly the same screens as that. We've just had to do a lot of work behind the scenes to make them work for existing resources. So that will be coming by the end of June, I'm sure. I hope anyway, all going well. We've got a few changes to the Talis team. That's why it's only me today. Georgia, who joined the same time as I did back in the autumn of 2022 as a junior product manager, she's quickly got promoted to a product manager, and she's accepted an exciting new role at an online retailer. So she's on leave at the moment, she's taking a couple of weeks leave, and then she starts her new job at the beginning of June. But we're welcoming back Lisa. You may remember Lisa worked at Talis for a year when she was doing a junior product manager role, starting out her product career. She did all the discovery calls for tagging features. So any of you that did tagging features, discovery calls, would have spoken to Lisa. We're delighted she's accepted the role of Talis product manager and will start it back with us early in July. So that's great news. Sad to lose Georgia. She's very well organized. And always kept me in check, getting things organized. But yeah, great that Lisa will be coming back to us. So what's coming up? So our plans for 2026 and 2027. We did a discovery, and I think some of you may have joined discovery on reporting analytics. The point of that discovery was to find out more specifically what problems people had with reporting analytics. We knew lots of things. We'd had lots of feedback from the Ideas portal. We appreciate you all feeding back on Ideas portal and still continue to use that, which is really appreciated. But discovery gives us such a chance to have a big, more in-depth chat with people, find out what issues they're facing, find out what the problems you have. Often people come to us with a solution, but actually want to find out what the problems are, because there's often more than one way to solve a problem. So we've gone through all those and we've broken it down into 4 items that we can improve, that we think will make people's life much easier. So the first one is improved reporting. So when you're in Talis and you run all these reports, a lot of people are saying they just want to run a report with just certain fields. So we'll have an option where you can just select certain fields that you want output or to display on screen. So if you just want a quick report with a couple of fields on screen, you just click those and that will show on screen. The other thing, a lot of people are using reporting to get information on a regular basis. Maybe every Monday morning they're getting a report of all the items that have been added to reading lists. Maybe for creating orders, or for other statistics for people in the organization. So we're going to make that automated to be able to set that up. What's the report? You know, all the books added that are not in the catalog in the last week, for example. So the same sort of selection criteria that will be able to filter down, but then you'll be able to say, I want to run this every Monday for the last week. And that's something we're gonna implement. All these things are plans for the next year to year and a half. Some will come earlier, some will come later, some are much more complicated. So I'll just give you some broad outlines here, and I'm not promising any timelines, but we will be working on these after AdResource. The other thing is we're going to be implementing a new dashboards section. So dashboards, a lot of people said they'd love some graphical dashboards, and the people at Cortext have got quite a lot of experience with analytics. If you have used Cortext, they do some great analytics. I used to work at Cortext. I worked at Talis 3.5 years ago. I was the analytics manager at Cortext, so I do know a bit about their analytics. So I'm really looking forward to working with the analytics team there, and we'll be having probably initially one dashboard, but 2 or 3 dashboards that you'll be able to use with various usage data. So that's the important thing. It's not just going to be reporting. You'll have student and others usage data, be able to look at, which courses, what usage over time. So you'll get some decent dashboards. And we've had a lot of feedback on what people would like to see in those. So we'll probably add a first dashboard as your first, so you get something out the doors, and then we'll add more as we go on through time based on feedback, what people want to see. So when we release these features, it's always good to feedback. We don't just try and release something and walk away. We do something called iterative development, which means here's the first bit, give us some feedback, and then we'll come back round to it. Well, it'll be straight away, but we'll come back round to it, and based on your feedback, do some more developments, like we will with tagging. So dashboards is an important part. Improved advanced MES. We've got some more data fields to add in advanced MES. We're going to be looking to make that an option, so you can have that advanced MES a dashboards again, but much more tutor fields like drop and drag type dashboards. So that's a longer piece of work, but yeah, the extra data fields will go into advanced MES quite early on. And finally, the in-list analytics. So you have these, maybe you may have turned them off. I think they're about 8 years old, the in-list analytics. And a lot of people were concerned about what they're reporting. They're not very pretty to look at, but they were perceived as maybe not being accurate and not giving them analytics that meant anything. So we're going to look at the accuracy of those analytics and look at the explanation we give on screen first of all. Once we got that correct, yes, we will look at improving the interface. There might be 2 stages. Our first thought is let's improve what you're getting there in the same interface, but with some analytics that you can rely on, and then we'll look at improving the interface so you can get more out of them. That's what we're planning for reporting analytics over the next sort of 18 months. I hope you agree there's quite a lot there. We're also going to be doing a list creation tool. A lot of people have been saying they create syllabuses, usually for accreditation and other reasons in Word. They might have a piece of software that they have to store these in, and then when you have to create a reading list as well, you just have to get that on screen or download that and start adding it to Talis. So this idea is you have to export that from whatever your software is, export it to PDF, Word, or even image file, and import that straight into Talis. We had a prototype working, a proof of concept, and it worked. And it worked on even a handwritten image file. So someone gives you a scrappy list over the desk and says, "Could you add this to Talis?" It might well even work with that. The benefit of this is it also links in those items to your catalogue, so it will go away and search your library catalogue, see if you've got those items in stock, and if so, turn that into a full proper record from your library catalogue. Alternatively, if it finds a cross-ref version, it'll bring in those records like when you're bookmarking, so you'll get an improved record rather than just usually a stub record that you get in a PDF and Word. Say we've got proof of concept of that working. Use a little bit of AI, which I know is a dirty word sometimes, but uses a bit of AI to help speed that up, and we'll be looking at that in 2027. We've also got our normal ongoing CI tickets. So as you know, we have lots of ideas through the Ideas portal. The Idea portal is a really great way for you to feedback on what you'd like to see in Aspire. So the new tagging feature will go through as what we call CI, continuous improvement, by the way, if you wonder what CI means. But we pick up things from there. They might be small ideas. They may be ideas that hundreds of people are asked for. We don't prioritize based on the number of people that ask for an idea. So don't feel that just because it's something that you're asking for in Australia, nobody else wants, you're not going to get it. That's not true. We look at the ideas on how difficult they are to do. So quick fixes that people are asking for, we will quite often push through. Things that are useful for a lot of people is going to be useful, but most people that are asking for tagging were from Australia. They weren't from the UK, but it's been embraced by people all over, which is great. And we also listen very much to your customer services people. So Isabel will tell us when something needs doing, and we do listen to Isabel, otherwise she comes and tells us off. So we make sure we listen to those people. That's all from me. It's a quick update this morning, but I'm happy to answer any questions or go into any of those things in any more detail. Yes.
Yeah, just a question about where the source of information for the OER database for AdResource, where's that coming from?
Initially, that's going to come from Cortex. Cortex have an OER database. So it's got about 50,000 books in it. So it's a full text OER database. Initially, it'll be coming from there, but they are adding books rapidly from lots of different sources to that OER database. So if there's a collection in Australia that we should be adding to that database, I'll be happy to add that to the content team. So that's where the content's coming from all over, from all different places. A lot of OpenStack stuff in there as well.
Thank you. Yeah, no, probably not a surprise, Scott, that a request for hidden tags.
Yeah, and that's definitely in our continuous improvement tickets. It's the sort of library hidden tags is something that we know a lot of people have asked for. Said it'll make the feature much more usable. So it'll be on Lisa's desk when she arrives early in July, and it'll be pushed into CI. Yeah.
Oh yeah, just a question about tagging in the APIs.
Yeah, we haven't done an API, released any APIs for that yet. I know some people are talking about bulk tagging as well. And that's something we will look into, but it's not being prioritized for development in the next 6 months, certainly.
Yeah, I think just some sort of feedback, Scott, pointing out that when you're working on a long list and you're making changes when you publish, you're taken back to the top of the list, but it would be better to be taken back to the section that you're working on so you can continue working on from there. You know, we've got the back to top and all that, but yeah, just the ease of being able to continue the way you were, particularly when the list is quite long.
Okay, yeah.
And as you can see, Scott's writing that down.
I have a notepad, see? Post-it notes, old technology.
Oh, like in the search box. Oh. Okay, yeah, being able to search for a list. So like when you're already on the list page, you can search for a different list rather than having to go back to the home page and search for a list, which is really.
Yep, different list in the list page. Okay.
Any other questions or feedback anyone want to raise? Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think this is another sort of bit of feedback that I think we have had before, but being able to hide a section within a list. So rather than having to keep the whole list in draft, but just being able to hide the section so that if you don't want students to see it at a particular time.
Yeah.
Anything else at all from anyone? Oh, okay, so just some feedback around the new bookmarking workflow and sort of not very good metadata coming through from bookmarks created by academics. I think it might be worth sort of raising that as a support ticket because we we probably need to figure out how exactly they're creating the bookmark, because if they're bookmarking from the catalogue, it shouldn't. You would know too that a bad bookmark's been created. I wonder if they're creating manually or something like that.
Usually we just typing, but I will find something. Hopefully I'll find.
Yeah, I think share some examples with support, because we would have to work out. We could do some testing and see, okay, where have they likely bookmarked from based on the metadata that's come through, and it might be a case of having to educate them on how to bookmark. I mean, the other thing too is if these are resources you own, add resource might be a way to steer them towards, because then the metadata should be coming through pretty well if they use that instead of the bookmarking extension. But yeah, I think raise a support ticket in the first instance for that. We can take a look at what they might be doing. Yeah, I think definitely raise this with support in the first instance, because essentially the new bookmarking workflow shouldn't have changed what metadata is being collected, maybe in some small cases, but we've worked to fix that. So these may just be issues that have always been there that are just coming more to light, perhaps. We can always try to improve the bookmarking, the metadata that's captured on a page that someone is bookmarking from. So yeah, please raise any examples you find in support, and we'll always take a look at them. All right. Well, thanks very much, Scott.
No worries, just to say, we'll still be doing our webinars, so our next one's in June. So we'll keep people updated with the analytics that are coming and the other work that we're doing on the ad resource and the edit. All that will come through normal support channels. You'll get your emails, but we'll also be doing our next webinar in just a few weeks in June. So brilliant. Well, thanks very much. Nice to speak to you this morning, and I hope you have a good rest of the conference. Bye for now.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, we'll give you.
Bye everyone. Bye bye.
Bye.
Right, so.